want to start by just expressing solidarity with our trans siblings. They were there for us in the 8th Amendment, and it would be wrong, absolutely wrong, that we don't all come together actually today and express that solidarity. I have been quite shocked. And I would have thought at this point in the proceedings I might be relatively unshockable. I've been quite shocked at the outpouring of hate against a small group, and the trans community have shown extreme fortitude and patience and dignity in the face of an onslaught against them. And I want to express from the Dáil, I want to express my solidarity today and every day, and we have to do it every day. And you can't just say, you know, I'm an ally, but only when I'm standing here. It has to be in our thoughts, in our actions, and in everything that we do. And we've to call it out when we hear it, and that's really hard, really, really hard, because you know we do hear transphobic and homophobic statements, and people try to pass it off as a joke. But every single time that happens, we have to remember those people who were there with us. And who were intrinsic and integral to the campaign to repeal the 8th Amendment, and you know, when they need our solidarity, we need to stand up. Kilcorl, I'm very proud to have been raised in a household where tolerance and inclusivity was absolutely central to our upbringing and who we were and what we did as a family. We were an anti-apartheid family, we were a pro-women's rights family, we were an anti-homophobia family. My parents wouldn't have entertained the thoughts of either of their children, both now obviously grown up ourselves and raising children of our own. I wouldn't have tolerated the notion of us being intolerant. But now it's moved on, so we can't simply say we have to not be intolerant. We actually have to be proactively inclusive, and the debate, I think, is really good. It's no longer about whether or not you're being intolerant or whether or not you're being tolerant. It's actually about, are you being inclusive? And I suppose for myself and in my role as Sinn Féin spokesperson on workers' rights, I want to say a little bit about the rights of people at work, because it was 2007, as chairperson of the SIP2 LGBTIQ+ advisory group, we bought a banner, a small enough banner, and we brought it to Pride, first time in 2007. And I am so proud, if you'll forgive the pun, of how far the trade union movement has come since then, how far my own former union SIP2 has come, and indeed the Irish Congress of Trade Unions. And the trade unions are now a big presence at Pride, and I think that's very good. Our workplaces should most definitely be inclusive, and as I said then, and I say now, if you're not out at work, well then something has to change in your workplace, because work has to be a place where you can feel free to just be yourself, and that shouldn't be a big ask. This is an important debate for us to have as public representatives. We need to be providing leadership and delivering on equality for LGBTQI+ people. In the midst of attempts by bad faith actors to drag the debate backwards, and we know who they are and we know what they're at, and they're trying to erode any progress that has been made, we have to stand together and say, not on our watch, because we have a role to provide that leadership, to use our platforms to amplify positivity and also to challenge hate. And that is not an easy thing for people to do. And we all know what a pylon looks and feels like, but you have to be, I think we have to be positive, but also vocal. We have to be allies, but we have to be active. And I think that's very, very often the case. And you could say if it was left just up to politicians on our own, we probably wouldn't have the progress that we have made. And I want to mark the progress. I also want to focus on the fact that there is a lot more that we can do. So, members of the LGBTQI+ community face discrimination at every turn, in school, in college, in work, in accessing services, in the street, on the bus, no matter where it is. So we need to be there with them. This discrimination, victimisation and bullying, it creates stress and fear for members of the LGBTIQ+ community. And I think this is very, very apparent when we look at members of the travelling community, and we know that there are LGBTIQ+ people within the travelling community who must find the stress even more acute, because we know the levels of mental ill health among the travelling community, and there is a group within a group, and I think we need to be laser-like in our focus in looking at where the leadership is required, what it is that we can do to be positive, how it is that we can help people, and how we can use the platforms we have as political leaders to amplify positivity and also to challenge victimisation, discrimination and what I suppose is hate, really. And I'll end by saying we need hate crime legislation on our statute books that is fit for purpose, not 33-year-old legislation. We need modern legislation that will protect people.